In the annals of history, few deaths are as mysterious and legendary as that of Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt. Was it a venomous snake, a vial of poison, or something far more sinister? Cleopatra's death wasn't just the end of a queen. It was the final act of defiance by one of history's most powerful and enigmatic rulers. Cleopatra's life, full of intrigue, power, and resilience, set the stage for a dramatic and mysterious ending that continues to fascinate historians and storytellers alike. The year was 30 BCE, and Cleopatra's world was crumbling. After their crushing defeat at the Battle of Actium, Cleopatra and her lover, Mark Antony, fled back to Alexandria. Egypt, once a symbol of power and wealth, now faced total conquest by Octavian, the future Emperor Augustus. Cleopatra had spent years using her intelligence, charm, and political savvy to navigate the treacherous waters of Roman politics. She allied herself with powerful men like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, not as a passive consort, but as an active partner in their military and political endeavors. However, the defeat at Actium marked the beginning of the end. Octavian was determined to bring Egypt under Roman control. And Cleopatra knew she faced an existential threat, not only to her own life, but also to her children and the independence of Egypt. Octavian's ambition was clear: to parade Cleopatra as a prisoner in a triumphal procession in Rome, displaying her as a defeated enemy to solidify his power and legacy. When Antony heard the false report of Cleopatra's death, he fell on his sword in despair. Mortally wounded, he was brought to Cleopatra's mausoleum, where he died in her arms. Cleopatra, now alone, realized the full weight of her predicament. The queen who had outwitted Rome for years was running out of time and options. Yet even in the face of imminent defeat, Cleopatra was not one to surrender easily. She used her final days to negotiate for the safety of her children, all while preparing for what would be her ultimate act of defiance. In her final days, Cleopatra retreated to her mausoleum. Ancient sources describe her filling the space with treasures and symbols of her power, a stark reminder to Octavian of what he would lose if she chose death over captivity. Cleopatra's refusal to be paraded in chains through Rome was more than a personal decision. It was a statement of sovereignty and pride. To Cleopatra, death was preferable to humiliation, and she ensured that her final moments would reflect her dignity and status as a queen. The most famous account of Cleopatra's death comes from Plutarch, who wrote that she allowed an asp, or Egyptian cobra, to bite her. In Egyptian culture, the cobra was sacred, a symbol of divine royalty and protection. The choice of the asp was no accident. It was deeply symbolic, aligning Cleopatra with the goddess Wadjet, protector of the pharaohs. Plutarch's account tells of her dressing in her finest royal attire before committing this act, ensuring that even in death, she projected power and grace. However, the story of the asp raises questions. Cobra venom typically kills slowly and painfully, making it an unlikely choice for a quick, peaceful death. Some historians argue that the tale of the asp may have been a later embellishment, adding a dramatic flair to Cleopatra's already legendary life. Others suggest that the asp was chosen not for its effectiveness, but for its symbolic resonance, making Cleopatra's death an act of ritualistic defiance. Some believe she ingested poison, rather than relying on a snake. Ancient texts suggest Cleopatra had an interest in toxins and their effects, and a vial of poison would have been easier to conceal and control than a live snake. This theory aligns with descriptions of her body being found with no visible wounds. It also explains how she could have ensured a quicker and more predictable death for herself and her loyal servants, Eris and Charmian, who were found dead alongside her. A more controversial theory suggests that Cleopatra did not take her own life at all, but was murdered on Octavian's orders. Octavian had every reason to want Cleopatra dead, but a narrative of a noble suicide would have been far more politically advantageous than a public execution. By portraying her death as an act of personal defiance, Octavian could eliminate her as a threat while maintaining the appearance of magnanimity. The question of whether Cleopatra's death was truly her choice or the result of political calculation adds another layer of intrigue to her story. Regardless of how Cleopatra died, her death was more than just an end. It was a statement. By taking her own life, Cleopatra denied Octavian the satisfaction of parading her through Rome as a trophy of his conquest. Her choice ensured that she would be remembered as a queen who controlled her destiny, even in her final moments. Cleopatra's death became a symbol of resistance and dignity, solidifying her legacy as one of history's most fascinating figures.